Hi everybody, it's Mrs. Lewis again. We are going to start this video by, I'm going to give you the answers to the section 4.2 practice A problems that you've been working on. And after we go over the answers, I'm going to do numbers 12 and 14 for you. So the answers for this section are as follows. Number 1 is a 60% increase. 2 was 10% decrease. 3 was 28.6% decrease. 4 was 17.9% decrease. 5 is 9 dogs. 6 is 203 fluid ounces. 7 is 199 textbooks. 8 is 15 students. 9 is 20% increase. 10 is 100% increase. 11 is 50% decrease. 12A is 20% decrease. 12B is 173 tickets. 12C, 35.9% decrease. Number 13 is 4 musicians. Number 14, Part A is 10 feet. Part B is 25%. Part C is 56.3%. So make sure that you're grading yourself on how well you did on these problems. We are going to look at numbers 12 and 14 now. So for number 12, yesterday 270 concert tickets were sold. Today 216 tickets were sold. Find the percent of change in the number of tickets sold from today to yesterday. So that's for part A. I'm just going to do that first. So percent change, is it an increase or a decrease? 270 to 216, that's a decrease. So 12A, I can say that I have a decrease. Because I have a decrease, I'm going to do 270 minus 216, so it's still always the biggest number minus the smallest number at the top. 270 minus 216, and you always divide by the original number that you started with. So in this case, we started yesterday with 270. On the calculator, I can type 270 minus 216. That's 54, and I divide by 270, and that gives me 0.2. 0.2 needs to be converted to a percent. Let's move the decimal 2 spaces, and I have 20% decrease. So that's part A. For 12B, let's read it together. Use the percent of change from Part A to predict the number of tickets sold tomorrow. Round to the nearest ticket if necessary. Okay, so we just saw that the percent change in Part A was a 20% decrease. Okay. We want to predict what's going to happen tomorrow. So if we start with today, 216 tickets were sold. Okay, so we've got 216. If it decreases by another 20%, we're going to subtract 20% of the 216. So it's very important that you're remembering to multiply the percentage by the original number that you started with. So 216 for today minus 20% of 216 should predict it for tomorrow. So we would do 216 minus 20% needs to be a decimal, so you're going to move it 2 spaces to the left, 0.2 or 0.20 times 216. All right, so 0.2 times 216 gives me 43.2. So 216 minus 43.2. That gives me 172.8. And they told me that I could round to the nearest ticket if necessary, so I'm going to round that to 173 tickets. Okay? For part C, find the predicted percent of change in the number of tickets sold from yesterday to tomorrow. Round to the nearest tenth of a percent if necessary. So what's that asking me to do? From yesterday to tomorrow. So they want us to look at the number from yesterday, the 270, and the number that we came up with for tomorrow, the 173. They want us to calculate the percent change of 270 to 173. Okay, so we consider the 270 our original amount, 173 is going to be our new amount. So we want to do, we know it's going to be a decrease, and we want to say 270 minus 173 divided by the number we started with, the 270. $270 minus 173 gives me 97, and I divide by 270. That gives me 0.359. I could keep going, but I'm going to stop there. I don't have to round the 9 up because the number to the right of the 9 is a 2. All right, so my decimal was 0.359. I need to express this as a percent. I move the decimal 2 spaces. It makes it 35.9% decrease. Okay, so that's how I got the answer to number 12, part C. So that's all the work I did for number 12. Again, you better not be trying to squish it in, all this stuff, on this page. It should all be on a separate sheet. Okay, let's look at number 14. The sides of a square garden are 8 feet long. All right, in part A, you enlarge the garden to create a 25% increase in the length of each side. Find the length of the sides. Okay, let's draw a picture for this. All right, so for this problem, I would definitely want to use a picture. I've got a square garden, so of course that means all the sides are the same length. And my garden sides are 8 feet long, okay? So they're 8 all the way around. We're going to enlarge the garden to create a 25% increase in each side. Okay, so we have to figure out we need to calculate 25% increase of 8. Okay, we need to figure that out. What is that going to be? Well, we're going to start with 8, and we're going to add 25% of 8. So that would be 8 plus 0.25 times 8. All right, well, 0.25 times 8, that would be 2. So our new side length is 10. New side length is 10, and that was in feet. Okay, so that's part A. Part B. Find the percent of change in the perimeter of the garden, round to the nearest tenth of a percent if necessary. Okay, so they're saying percent of change and percent change of perimeter. So we need to look at the original perimeter, look at the new perimeter, calculate the percent change. So for part B, the perimeter, let's say the original perimeter. This is where it's very helpful to have a picture to look at. The original perimeter, you add up all the sides, so that's going to be 32 feet. The new perimeter, let's draw a picture for our new one. Our new box has side lengths of 10. So my new perimeter is going to be 40 feet because I'm adding up all the sides. My percent change will be the larger number minus the smaller number, so 40 minus 32, divided by the original perimeter was 32. What does that give me? 40 minus 32 gives me 8, and then 8 divided by 32 gives me 0.25. Okay, it needs to be expressed as a percent, so move that decimal 2 spaces and it becomes 25%. And that was an increase, 25% increase. In part C, find the percent of change in the area of the garden, around to the nearest 1/10 of a percent if necessary. So what's the key difference between part C and part B? Every word is exactly the same, except this time we're doing area. Okay, I'm going to do my pictures again. I want to look at my pictures. So for 14C, the original garden had side lengths of 8 feet. Okay, so the area of the original area we know is length times width, so 8 times 8, 64 square feet. For the new garden, our side lengths are now 10 feet. So area this time is going to be 10 times 10, length times width. It's going to be 100 square feet. Okay, so we have the original area here. We have the new area here. We're going to calculate the percent change. So our percent change is going to be the larger number minus the smaller number, 100 minus 64, divided by the original area, the 64. Okay, 100 minus 64 gives me 36 divided by 64. And that gives me 0.5625. Okay, but I cannot, if it's a percent, I cannot leave the answer as just a regular decimal. It's got to be converted over to a percent. So my decimal is going to go 2 spaces to the right. It becomes 56.25%, and that was the increase. 56.25% increase. You know what? They said around to the nearest 10th. So let's say 56.3% increase. For our answer. Okay. Okay, so if you have questions about any of these problems, find Mr. Lewis or Ms. Barmer if possible. Either one of them can be happy to answer your questions, and when I get back, I'll answer questions as well. Thank you.